Our conversations bring us together from different parts of the world. Seeing everybody gathered here today is a powerful reminder that ending female genital mutilation is a shared responsibility. My name is Anisa Oiza Aliyu from Nigeria. I am a fourth-year pharmacy student, a student leader with a strong interest in public health, gender equity, and community health education. And I'll be moderating this awareness webinar organized by the Amazon Leadership Initiative in commemoration of the International of the in commemoration of the International of the Thank you. So am I audible enough, please? Please drop a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, thank you so much. So I'd like for us to start with a short affirmation. So if you are a female here and you are comfortable, please unmute your mic and say these lines with me. But if you are not able to, please feel free to say them silently in the chat box. So let's keep this place flooded with emojis as we recite. All you need to do is recite after me. So please unmute your mics and repeat after me, please. I'm waiting for those that unmute their mics. We need to say this together.
We're waiting for you too.
Thank you. So just repeat after me. I am a girl.
I am a girl.
I am a girl. I am a girl.
I deserve safety.
I
I
deserve
deserve safety.
I deserve dignity.
I deserve dignity.
My dreams are valid.
My dreams
My
are
dreams
valid.
Are valid.
Are valid.
Our dreams are valid.
Our dreams
are valid.
Thank you all for participating.
Thank you.
While we are actually here. Female genital mutilation is not just a health issue, neither a cultural conversation. Rather, it is a human rights issue that affects our safety as women, our dignity, and the future of millions of girls and women across Africa and beyond. We are truly honored to have with us today a diverse, bringing perspectives from counseling, advocacy, law, medicine, and lived experience. I encourage everyone to please listen with empathy, engage respectfully, and keep an open mind. Thank you for being part of this important conversation. Miss Helen, please, if you can mute your mic. Thank you. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to invite the president of the Ali West African Caucus, Ms. Khadija to LS Barry, who has been instrumental in driving this initiative and making today's conversation possible. I'm curious though, I know she already said it in the chat box, but where do you all think Ms. Khadija is from? So I don't want to butcher her name, so I'll be writing her full name in the chat box. So I want to see where do you all think she's from? Let's try guessing. Let's keep this whole thing interactive. So I'll drop her full name in the chat box. So you can just tell me where you think she's from. Okay, a moment, please. Let me. Okay, that's taking time. But okay, I'll be dropping her full name now. So yeah, just help me. Let's see how you all are good at guessing. Her name is Miss Khadija too. So let's see who can guess where Miss Khadija is from using her name. I know she already said it before, but let's see those who are good at guessing. So while you're all doing that, I'll read her portfolio. Ms. Khadija LS Barry is a committed civil rights activist and feminist with over 10 years of experience championing the rights of children, women, and young people in Sierra Leone. She holds a degree in gender research and development studies from Fora Bay College, University of Sierra Leone, and was a vocal advocate during the 10th Conference on Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights in Sierra Leone in 2022. Well, personally, I like to call her Miss K, actually, and she's definitely a powerhouse. For a few weeks now, we've been planning this event, and her dedication, her resilience, and commitment is something I've come to admire. Thumbs up to you, Miss K. You're an inspiration. You're welcome, ma'am. The floor is yours now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, our wonderful moderator. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much for being here today. As they all gathered here today to commemorate the day, International Day of FGM, Female Genital Mutilation. As we are all aware, or if we are not, then we should know that there are about 4 million girls that go through or that have gone through FGM. For instance, for my country, there is about 80% plus of women that have gone through FGM, meaning it is prevalent. It is something that happens all the time. And there are seasons that it happens in my country, actually, that you can't joke about, right? Today, as we're gathered here, let us brace ourselves because we have everything waiting for us. Let us have our books and pens where we can write and share later what we have learned. Let us get ready with how we will post it on social media while also tagging all of us and tagging the alley. And also let us learn. And as we stand in solidarity with every girl that have gone through FGM, every survivor, I want to say welcome to this webinar today. And thank you so much. Back to you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you so much, Ms. Khadija. Thank you for your leadership and commitment to this. Sorry, you all lose me a bit there. It's network glitch. So we'll be moving quickly into the next agenda. Ms. Grace Kitoti, who currently serves as the Ali Finance Associate, will be telling us a bit about the Ali, the very platform behind today's conversation. Okay, can you all hear me clearly now? Please, a thumbs up if you can.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Please, while I read Mrs. Grace's portfolio, if you can help with emojis, let's fill this space with emojis. Let's be vibrant. So Ms. Grace is a medical laboratory scientist and a passionate STEM empowerment enthusiast dedicated to advancing girls' education and leadership in marginalized communities, creating an inclusive opportunities for girls and young women to thrive in STEM and beyond. You're welcome, ma'am. Please go ahead. The floor is yours. Ms. Grace, are you here, please?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much. Anisati Aliu? Is that the correct pronunciation of your name?
Anissa, but it's fine.
All right, thank you so much. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Ms. Grace, we can't hear you. Have you started talking?
I asked if you can see my screen and hear me. So good evening, everyone. And as the moderator said, my name is Grace Kitoti. I'm based in Kenya, and I serve as the Finance Associate for the Amazon Leadership Initiative. So as we gathered here today to celebrate the International Day for FGM, it's a great honor to take you through the great organization that has made this possible for us to be here today. Where most of us have really been nurtured to be who we are today. So the organization the organization name basically is the Amazon Leadership Initiative, and the short form is usually the ALI. And you can see on the screen that is just the ALI, like the and then ALI in capital. Because this organization was officially brought to life in 2020 by none other than the black girl original, Miss Mary Zobo. Please put up some fire emojis for Miss Mary Zobo, because she is a firehouse. She is like a mentor extraordinary, and she has been able to bring together a network of over 4,000 young women in Africa, and she's passionate about young women. And a mantra is always, Black girl, your dreams are valid. Right? So she's one passionate young woman, and she has a dream, and her dream was to make sure every other young female leader, or other any other African young girl could bring to life their dreams. So let's put some fire emoji for our founder, Miss Mary Zobo. So about the Ali, the Ali is a woman and youth non-for-profit organization that empowers women and girls aged between the years 14 to 29, but we just added the years to 35. We foster inclusivity in leadership roles. We provide support networks. We mentor girls in career. We do career guidance with education and capacity development. And we do all that to alleviate gender inequality. And we try to address the gender gaps in line with Aspiration 6 of the African Union, Agenda 2063, and the Goal 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, the famous SDGs, if you've heard of this, of course. Our vision is very simple. It's just a world where everyone has equal opportunities, and more so for African young girls in Africa. The mission again is to alleviate gender inequalities in line with Aspiration 6 of the Agenda 2063 and the Goal 5 of the SDGs 2030. What is our long-term vision as an organization? We envision a world where everyone has equal rights and opportunities, irrespective of the agenda, irrespective of their sex as well. So how do we plan to carry out the vision? We do this through the inclusion of women in all their work and projects, and also through networking, partnership, collaborations that the Ali has created and established over time. We'll be able to see later the kind of networks we've been able to establish and work with in the past. We have our values, and these are some of our values. We are disruptors of gender inequality, status quo. We usually like to say nothing about us without us, period. We are Black girls, we are young, we are young, we are Black, we are ambitious, and we are the Ali team. So the Amazon Leadership Initiative up to this year, this is the 5th year, and you'll see everywhere in our social medias we are having a 5 years anniversary. Is because this is our 5-year since inception, because we say that the organization was founded in 2020, and up to now we've been able to engage over 3,000 young female leaders, as we call them in the Ali, across Africa and even diaspora. So that is one of our biggest achievements, or the fact that you're able to bring over 3,000 people together and being able to engage with them for a period of 5 years. We have a couple of structures in the organization. We have associates, and we usually also have caucuses, right? So the screen that is here is just showing the name of the caucus associates that we have in the organization and their roles. We basically, the organization has about 13 associates and then 9 caucus leaders and up to about 4 volunteers that have also been engaged this year as well. So the Pan-African, the 3,000 girls that we just talked about, they are grouped into what we call caucuses. We have the Saint Caucus, which was actually disintegrated recently. But the Saint Caucus used to have Central, East, and Northern countries together with the diaspora. But right now we have an Eastern African Caucus, and then we have the Central African Caucus, and then we have the Northern African Caucus. Right, then we have the Western African Caucus, which has the Western Africa region countries. Then we have the Southern African Caucus, which includes all the countries in the Southern Africa, and this is where also the organization is mainly registered. Is actually legally registered, and it's legally registered in South Africa. We have a couple of achievements. We have achieved a couple of things over this 5 years that we've been in operation. And I'll just take you through a few of them. But we have like envision this, or we usually talk about them, especially in our social media. So you'd want to go to our social medias and keep on seeing the achievement that we have achieved over the 5 years. So among our achievements, in addition to what you can see on the screen, we've been able to host 3 hybrid forums since 2023 in South Africa, in Kenya, and in Nigeria, respectively in those 3 years. And last year, that is 2025, the earlier left 2025 in Nigeria. It is the year that we launched the 5 years anniversary, and that is amongst our biggest achievements yet. Being able to bring together over 2,000 girls from across Africa and 500 in person for 2 consecutive years has really been a very resounding success for us. So in addition to that, we have had like a lot of achievements. And just to take you through a few, we've been able to engage we've been able to engage schools and give them like school necessities, including school shoes, including sanitary towels for young girls, and such materials that are required for schools. We've also had we've commemorated International Women's Days, and in 2023 we had a launch of a digital memoir for women in leadership. That was in 2023, and it was also an hybrid event that happened in South Africa as well. We also collaborated with GMT to bring together the She Speaks gathering in 2023 as well. And those are among most of the achievements that we've been able to achieve. Amongst the rest, you can see on the screen, which you don't have to read one by one. So how are we able to engage over 3,000 young female leaders across Africa? We have different kind of projects that we carry out over time. So I'll take you through these and also mention others that they might not be included in this slide. So we usually do the back to school program. Now this is the program that usually has the school visits where we share materials, school necessities for learners to be able to, engage in to be able to remain in school. This is like for school retentions for young girls across Africa that are usually disadvantaged because of poverty. We do carry out menstrual health and hygiene management programs, and in this year we'll be carrying out this exactly project on a broader scale in South Africa, in Namibia, in Zambia, and in Uganda. So please keep engaging with us. You'll be able to see the lineup of these projects that are coming up in the month of May, specifically the menstrual health and hygiene management program. We do a lot of commemoration for the international days of the just as today we are here because of the because of the commemoration of the FGM day, right? To end the FGM. So we usually do the commemoration of international days, right? So among them is also the Day of the African Child, and this is what actually was the basis of bringing together the annual leadership forum, but right now it's a flagship program by itself. Then we also have a mentorship program, and this is usually done in cohorts. Every single year, new mentees coming in, and they get to have mentors, which we call female luminaries. So they get to have one-on-one sessions. They get to have group calls every single month for a period of 12 months. Then we do a lot of internships and job shadowing for young graduates, and basically to be able to give girls the opportunity to engage in these public spheres and for them to lead, because basically we are all about leading. We also do. I talked about the commemoration of international days, right? And then we also have a very interesting project that we launched last year. This is a Women in Political Participation, basically around women in leadership, women in political leadership rather. So it was launched last year, or rather the first cohort graduated last year. So it will also be having cohorts. So this year we are waiting to have a new cohort that will go through the political women in political leadership class, and this is also done by very extreme experts in the field of politics, and to try to engage women on all areas of political participation so that young girls can see themselves as equal players when it comes to political and decision making around politics. And then we do have women peace and security projects. We did carry out a women in peace security project in South Africa in collaboration with an organization called Accord. And then we do have the early school chapters. So the early school chapters basically is where we are able to engage schools and engage learners in the schools. And to add on to this, basically this year we are carrying out an advocacy project in South Africa again that is that is linked to the women in political participation. The title of the project is Learners to Leaders. Basically, it's teaching the students, or rather the girls in the classes, right, to be able to advocate for changes in the curriculum that is used in South Africa. So again, that is an aspect of the women in political participation directly that we are engaging in schools, and that's how we link our projects to the early school chapters. And that will bring me to the end of my presentation for today. So thank you so much, and I'll be giving it up to Anissa to Aliu. I don't know, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name right, but thank you so much for this opportunity, and that's what I'll be sharing. That's all about the Ali for today. Thank you.
You pronounced that just right, Miss Grace. Thank you so much. Please, let's react, let's clap, let's see our emojis. Please, I want to see like a lot. Let's flood this place with emojis, please. Yeah, more claps, more claps. Thank you so much, Miss Grace. That was definitely insightful. I mean, 3,000 young girls. That's beautiful for real. Well, my personal favorite line from here will be nothing about us without us. Period. There's nothing about us without we Black girls. Black girls, your dreams are valid. Black girls, your dreams are valid once again. Thank you so much, Miss Grace. It's clear that the Amazon Leadership Initiative continues to play an important role in creating spaces for leadership, advocacy, and impactful conversations like this. We are grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, the allies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So just before we move on to the next session, sisters, I would like to take a quick moment to hear from the room. So I'm going to mention, please type the one you think is more critical in ending female genital mutilation, education or legislation. I want to hear from you all. What do you think is more critical in ending FGM? Do you think it's education or is it legislation? So I'm waiting to see. So what do you think is more critical in ending female genital mutilation, education or legislation? Okay. I get the replies. I both. Okay, somebody said education than legislation. Miss Jojo said legislation is there already, but implementation is non-existent. So definitely education for me. Miss Selma is going with education. Miss Selma said with education, new laws can be implemented. Miss Brenda said both. Okay, I see got replies of both. Okay. Miss Pulaine said people are educated about this, but the law is the decider. Our educated ministers are the ones insisting FGM continues. Okay, but personally, I think I lean more towards legislation because it is deeply concerning that even educated professionals, including some healthcare workers, still carry out these practices. I mean, even doctors are educated, they still carry out these practices. At the same time, we already have laws in place. And in many countries, FGM still happens, which tells us something important. Law without enforcement and cultural change are not enough. And education without accountability is also not enough. So ending FGM requires both legislation that is enforced and education that even challenges these harmful norms. Thank you for participating. Well, I'd love to hear your response. You can still hear me, please, because my network is glitching. So the next agenda, quickly moving on, it reminds us of a physical reality. Female genital mutilation is violence, and its impact goes far beyond the physical. To shed more light on this from a counseling and mental health perspective, I'll be inviting Ms. Shazmin Kasam, all the way from Kenya. Please, let's use our virtual claps. Claps. Let's, as I read our portfolio, please, I want to see like claps on the screen. Let's clap for her, please. Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, thank you. Right. So Ms. Shazmin is a counseling psychologist, a certified GBV advocate, and global sexuality and reproductive health and rights education. She's the founder of Shaz Mental Health Space that works both virtually and physically with the purpose of providing biospiritual psychological support alongside other alternative therapies. Ms. Shazmin is a global sexuality and reproductive health educator, a global breast health and cancer educator, a cancer advocate, psychosocial support caregiver, and a GBV activist. This is an absolutely beautiful portfolio. I think well done for the good work, Ms. Shazmin. You are welcome. Please go ahead. She has
Thank
been
you
here.
so much. Thank you so much, Anissa, for the good introduction and for the warm welcome. I really appreciate it. Yes, so I was going to talk about FGM, the effects of FGM, both physically and mentally, how it affects girls and women, both physically and psychologically. And one thing is there's something that we've been lied to, and this lie is circulating everywhere. And I would like to start with that. The first lie is there are health benefits to FGM. There are no health benefits to FGM whatsoever. None. Zero. And then another myth that I would like to debunk is the aspect of consent. A lot of people say when we talk of mutilation as violence, a lot of people bring the aspect of, but some of them consent. No. Consent goes deeper than just saying yes to it. If you scare me to say yes, that is not consent. That is me acting to protect myself from more harm that I might be I might be surrounded with. For a very good example is those who say yes so that they are not alienated. Those who say yes for the fear of being stigmatized. Those who say yes because they fear that if they say no, this and that is going to happen to them. And remember, most of the the mutilation cases happen when girls are very young. If you look at all the cases there, it happens when they're very young. So you cannot tell me a person who cannot consent for sex can actually consent to be mutilated. It is not. It is not true. We need to debunk those two. And yes, I really like the fact that you started by saying that FGM is violence. FGM is GBV. It is because, first of all, FGM is female genital mutilation, and it happens in many forms. It happens in very many forms. In some cultures, in some places, you find that it's only the labia that is affected. In some places, you find it's the clitoris being affected. And this affects a person both psychologically and physically. And I've shared in the group some pictures of how they use flowers to show how mutilation happens. Yeah, there are three types of mutilation. The first one is where part part of the clitoris is cut. The second one is where both the clitoris and the labias are mutilated. The third one is where not only is there mutilation by cutting or burning or any form, we also have the sewing. And allow me to breathe. Allow me to, like, my heart is raising right now just at the thought of somebody taking a human being, a very young girl, having scissors over there, razor blades over there, sewing needles over there, and they go sew with all that turmoil happening over there, the cries and the screams. You cannot tell me there is consent there. There is no consent. Yeah. So in childhood, for those who have gone through through childhood, first of all, let us do one thing. If you're in this meeting and you've gone through FGM, I need us to I need us to close your eyes right now. Breathe in, breathe out, and I want you to repeat after me. It was not my fault. It was not my fault. And I forgive me for not being able to protect me at that point. I was young. I did not know better. Let us if you've gone through it, the first thing is let's try to forgive ourselves for that. Now, on the effects, I have categorized them on physical effects, emotional effect in childhood, girlhood, marriage and intercourse, then in the later life, pregnancy and childbirth. In childhood, the emotional turmoil can be that of shock, that of fear, that of trauma, and a lot of phobia regarding the sexuality, because there is a lot of pain when they think about the labia that has been mutilated. There's a lot of pain when they think about their own sexuality. Growing up, it feels like most of the testimonials have had people saying, I look at myself in the mirror and I cannot recognize who that person is. And physically, there's pain, there's a lot of UTIs, a lot of infections that can happen. And remember, if you look at all these testimonials of people who have gone through FGM, and we're going to have some today, you'll find that people are saying that most of them use the same tools and sterilized tools, and it can have a lot of physical effects on that. Then from childhood to girlhood, we start the menstruation process, a very natural process, a process that is meant to be a path of passage for us, becomes a path of pain. So it's really painful, because imagine that the mutilated part, if it is the entire labia that was removed and maybe sewn, and it leaves a very small place for the chunks. We know how menstruation takes place. It's not only blood, it's also chunks of our uterine walls. So you can imagine chunks of the uterine wall trying to pass through a very tiny hole that has been left after the mutilation has taken place. I'm going to share a picture in the group after this. So then after that, there is marriage and intercourse. It is very painful to go through sexual intercourse, and it can make somebody loathe their entire life at that point, a lot of resentment at that point, because there is no pleasure. We all know that the clitoris it's part of our body that has a lot of nervous system that really help us in pleasure. Apart from that, the pain of the mutilated place. And that the same thing happens in pregnancy. And we find that a lot of hemorrhage happens after giving birth. Most of the women who go through FGM are twice likely to even die from childbirth. So yes, we come back to the point that there is no health benefit, and FGM is violence, and it does affect the psychological system of a woman. Traumatic stress disorders, memory loss, because our body is trying to protect us from the memory of all the pain we have gone through. Yes, I'm saying full of time. Let me take it back to Anissa at this point.
Thank you so much, Miss Jasmine. That was definitely insightful. I mean, FGM is not just a health issue. It's not even a cultural conversation. It's a human rights issue that affects our safety as women, our dignity, and the future of millions of girls and women across Africa and beyond. We are gathered here today under the theme Towards 2030, No End to FGM Without Sustained Commitment and Investments. And throughout today's discussion, we'll be exploring what that commitment actually looks like. The next session brings us into the human reality behind everything we've been discussing. We'll be hearing from a female survivor who has graciously chosen to share her personal experience with FGM. Her courage reminds us that this is not just an issue, it's a lived experience. Miss Habiba Kabir Isa is a Nigerian, an FGM survivor, an advocate for women and children. She's an activist at heart, creating waves for girls and women's rights. She's dedicated to creating positive change through activism, committed to amplifying voices and driving impacts. Please, let's use the reactions. Let's clap for her. Ms. Kabira, you're welcome. You may proceed. Thank you so much for joining. Ms. Kabira, are you here, please?
Yes, I'm here. Can you all hear me, please?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for joining.
Can you hear me?
Kabira, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for joining.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Habiba Kabir Isa, FGM survivor and advocate for girls and women. As FGM survivor, I have been caught, and I know I'm not alone. A lot of girls and women went through the so-called female genital mutilation that has no value and benefits. Even as I'm talking, a lot of people still do it. Like very, very few eradicate it, but a lot of people still do it. FGM isn't a culture or traditional practice, we all know. And it's not even mandatory in religious. It's child abuse, we all know. FGM is not just doesn't just cause pain at the moment. It leaves survivor more vulnerable to infections and long-term health complications. We all know that. Let me take you back to my story. As for me, can you please all hear me? Can you hear me, please?
Kabira, we can hear you.
Okay. So as for me, I battle with infection. Like several times, I treated infection, let's say after every 3 to 5 months. And I do find difficulties during my menstruation. Because I could remember when I was 13, 14 years old, I had this menstrual cycle of having period after every five months. And I assure you, even when I'm on my period, it takes me like 8 to 9 days, which is not normal. 8 to 9 days before it stops. So when we consult a doctor, I think that was the first thing he asked. Am I a FGM survivor? My mom was like, yes, she is. I think that's a great shame on my face back then. So, hello, can you all hear me? Can you hear me, please?
Kabira, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So I continued my treatment and I continue my treatment. And even as I'm talking right now, hello, my network is shaking. Can you hear me, please?
Very audible.
Okay.
All listening.
So even as I'm talking right now, I think for the past 2 months now, I'm not on my period. Yes. So you see, this is a very, I don't know, held a long time complication of it. And for the infection, you treat infection today. Another one is coming next month. That's a great slap to we, the FGM survivor. Yes. So young girls bear so many hurtful emotions without confession. We all know that. And I've realized if I don't use my own voice, there will be so many young girls that will go through this bullshit FGM that has no benefits. It has no medical reason. So let's join our hand, please, and break the silence and end this thing together, please. Because there is this, I don't know, she's not my neighbor, but then she's my neighbor's cousin sister. She died FGM just a month after cutting her. I think she died. Hello. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah,
Hello.
Hello.
yes, we are all listening to you.
She died of FGM, and when her own mother consulted a doctor, they were like, The razor, I think that man didn't use razor. I don't know who know this small what do you call it? I don't know what do you call it. They normally use it for nails. I don't know if you know it. They normally use it for nails. So I don't know the name actually. That's what and they use on her. And very unfortunate. She couldn't stop bleeding for like a week, I think. So she couldn't hello?
Thank
Can you hear me?
audible.
So she couldn't stop bleeding for a week. And I don't know what happened. She died a month after that FGM bullshit. So please, let's join our hands and break the silence. We need to eradicate this FGM. Please and please. And if there is any, I don't know if there is Q&A session, please. Is there Q&A session, please?
Yeah, at the end of the session, at the end of the session.
Okay, so please, if there is any question you need to throw on to me, I'm here. Thank you.
Miss Habiba, thank you so much for your courage and for trusting us with such a deeply personal part of your life.
You're most welcome.
Infections, the pains, and the difficulties with menstruation reminds us
Let's not talk about the pain and trauma.
that is so sad for you.
I know.
It reminds us that the effects of FGM do not even end in childhood.
No. It has a very long time complications. Even after childbirth. I know that one.
That is so sad for you.
Yes.
FGM does not just end in childhood. It follows some
Yes.
adults into everyday life and into their health. Your story
Yes.
that FGM is not just a cultural practice or a statistic. It's a lived physical and emotional consequences.
Child abuse. In fact, child abuse. It's just child abuse and nothing more.
It's absurd. It's the absurdity of FGM
Because
for
I think there is no way you just caught somebody. We the girls, they do caught us at 7 to 8 years without our consent, which is very, very bad. You can't just caught somebody without the person consent.
Miss Habiba, thank you for that insightful, for your strength and for your willingness to speak, not just for yourself, but for so many others whose voices are still unheard. So because of
Thank you.
now, thank you so much for participating.
You're welcome.
So we'll now be transitioning to a creative expression of advocacy. We've been listening to powerful conversations and personal experiences. So to re-energize the room and engage us in a different way, we'll be listening to spoken words on FGM by Miss Esther Iyanuoluwa Adeyemo, reminding us that activism can also take the form of art. Please, let's all clap for her. Let's use our virtual claps. Let's all clap for her. Let's celebrate her. Virtual drum rolls, please, before she begins. Miss Esther, if you are here, please take over. Is Miss Esther here, please?
Hello, yes, I'm here. Sorry, I had to step out. I was in a meeting.
Okay, thank
Can
you so
everyone
much.
hear me loud and clearly?
Very loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Give me 1 second, please. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I am Esther Adeyemo, and I'm here to share a spoken word on FGM. For how long will women continue to suffer from the unjust and inhumane act of FGM? How long will our women and girls be subjected to this harmful practice? The World Health Organization states that 230 million girls and women have been caught, and 4.5 million girls, mostly under the age of 5, are at risk. Female genital mutilation, a brutal process where the female organ is being cut or totally removed. Can you imagine the pain? It's an act that inflicts unimaginable physical pain, leaving our girls mentally wrecked, emotionally unstable, and scarred forever. Today, I rise to speak out against this brutal crime, female genital mutilation. A wound time won't heal. I don't want her prostituting all around. I mean, that's the only way she'll remain pure. All twisted justification. Girls punished for actions they didn't commit for simply existing, for being female. Cultural norms, misinterpreted religion, and barbaric societal standards, all inflicting severe pain on a girl child, leaving her with lifelong trauma, health risks, and several complications. The damage is overwhelming, yet celebrated by some as a gift for their girls. How far we've come, yet how far we still must go. Many efforts made to support FGM survivors, commendable, but not enough. I recall a girl saying, "My mom was caught. I was caught. My daughter will be caught." They're evil. And until we break the circle, our girls are at risk. So we must protect our girls by stopping FGM and breaking the cycle. I applaud all those fighting against it, providing care, hope, and support to survivors. But I urge you, do not stop. The battle continues as long as even one girl is at risk. So I urge you to join me today and rise up. Everyone, let's give our girls a future, free from pain. Rise up and join against the fight against FGM today. Thank you.
The chills, Miss Esther.
Hello.
Yeah, we can. Thank you for that powerful pill. Indeed,
All right. Thank you, everyone.
it's heal. If you resonated with this piece, please let's down to see your emojis, please. Fire emojis everywhere. Am I audible, please? So we must all stand together and fight against FGM. Thank you so much, Ms. Esther, once again. So for this next session, we'll be looking at the legal framework surrounding FGM across Africa. What does the law actually say and how is it applied? To guide us through this, I'll be inviting Ms. Asiya Mohammed Ahmed from Ethiopia. Ms. Asiya is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and an accredited mediator. She's a human rights activist and community mentor with extensive experience in access to justice, alternative dispute resolution, and community empowerment. Ms. Asia's work bridges legal practice and grassroots advocacy with a focus on equity, accountability, and social justice. Ms. Asiya, thank you for joining us today. You're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's an honor being here. Well, as a practitioner of law, I've seen how silent harms to continue this thing. We have to raise legal awareness, as that is one of our strongest form of prevention, and this is why we are here today. So today we have had powerful voices.
We can't really hear you if you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. So today we have had powerful voices from the psychology aspect, from the survivors, from the art. But now we must ask ourselves, what does morality, or when does morality become law, and when must the law protect what morality sometimes fails to do so? So for us to answer that kind of question, we have to distinguish between morality and law. Morality is basically personal or cultural belief about right and wrong. whereas law is a formal system of rules enforced by a state. So FGM, it's normally or often defended as a culture. But one thing for sure, we all know culture cannot override constitutional rights, nor can it protect children against such kind of norms. So that is why the law exists, precisely to protect the vulnerable, especially when tradition fails to do so. So the basis of all this comes from our constitutional protection, which most African constitutions deliberate on the right to dignity, the right to health, the right to protect the children, since the children's interests are very much paramount, freedom from cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment, all that. And there are many, even international and regional laws that protect us. As you can see, there is the Maputo Protocol, there is the African Charter on the Human Rights and Welfare of a Child, there is the UN Convention, and the likes. So legally speaking, the prohibition of FGM is not merely a policy choice. It is a human right, and it's a fundamental obligation among each and every person on this earth. Whether you are a citizen of that state or not, you have to raise your voice and bring awareness. So I'll focus on Kenyan law. In Kenya, prohibition against FGM, it's very high. We have even enacted an act, that is a 2011 act, which criminalizes FGM, even talks about aiding, abating, and procuring. It's also a crime. So all that, even taking a girl outside the border of Kenya to another state to undertake such kind of activity, that amounts to a crime. So no cultural or religious defense, it is allowed. You cannot go to court and say that this is our culture. It is not allowed. And the penalty of it, if you are seen to have undertaken such kind of activity, is almost 7 years imprisonment, or even life imprisonment if death occurs. Because most of the time, as you heard from one of our courageous lady, some of these women often get to a state where they don't have medical attention and they die. You can be sued, you can be charged with a murder or manslaughter. So that is what is happening. It is that real. So basically, the law is anti-cultural. The law is anti-harm. So when a child cannot consent, the law must. That's why it has to be there. FGM is not a health issue, like my colleague Shazmin has said. It is not just a social issue, it is a constitutional issue. And it ties to the theme, if we truly want to end the FGM without sustained commitment and investment, then investment must include legal literacy, enforcement, and access to justice. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Miss Asia. What stand out clearly to me is that FGM is not only a violation of human rights, but also an act that the law explicitly criminalizes. You mentioned the 2011 prohibition of FGM Act in Kenya, and this reminds us that protecting girls and women is not even optional. It's a legal and moral responsibility. I think where the problem lies is in the enforcement of these laws, its accountability, and also awareness. Thank you so much. So our next session brings together medical insight and lived experience. We'll be hearing from another survivor Whose implications of female genital mutilation? Miss N. Mara is a Sierra Leonean media personality, a content creator, and public speaker. She's an LLB graduate and currently a student of the Sierra Leonean Law School. She's also a dedicated advocate for women and girls, championing inclusion, confidence, and equal opportunities through her work and community engagement. Please join me in welcoming Miss Mara. Miss Mara, the floor is yours. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, everyone. I
Good
hope
evening.
you're okay. Okay, so when we talk about the fight of FGM, sometimes for me personally, I was initiated when I was young, but I was only able to speak up at this age, starting last year, because that was how traumatized I was. Anywhere I had the discussion about FGM, I ensure that I'm not part of it. In fact, I would run as fast as my legs can carry me. Because for me, I was an advocate. I said no and I fought all the women that were a part of it. But no law rescue me, not even my parents rescue me. So if the people that we rely on, back then I was an advocate and I was telling my family, I don't want to be part of the society. I don't want to be part of it. And then they were like, if I'm at this age and I mistakenly escaped this age a bit, then definitely I'm not going to be part of the Bondo society. They knew exactly what they were doing. So for me, my story, it was like every year on January 1st, we have this tradition of going to Kabbalah, our village, to climb the hill. And just like every other year, my sister and I, we went to the village. And they didn't tell us, they didn't inform us, nothing was said because they knew if they would have mentioned it to me, I would have said that I am not interested. Because back then we have this discussion or slangs, people saying like, if you do not undergo the female genital mutilation, you are not a complete woman. There are just so many things, demonic things that are just that are just placed around this whole society. I went there just like every other person, and in the morning we arrive at night, and early in the morning we went there to greet our elders. Oh, sorry. We went there to greet our elders, and when we entered, we saw all these traditional robes tied. I knew what they were about to do. So I was young. I was just from junior secondary school. I just sat to my basic examination, my beke. But I knew what they were doing. I understand exactly what was happening. The fence was it was filled with they fenced the whole place with zinc. And okay, I entered this place and I couldn't let them initiate me, but there were more than 20 women in that place. My sister was the first person that they initiated, and it was my turn. I fought with every strength that I have as a woman. I cried, I shouted, nobody hear me. Nobody. And for me, they had to tear my trousers with blade. Everything on my body that day was torn with blade because I couldn't let them take everything off me. They had to tear everything from up till down. And the women, there were more than 20 women who held on to me, who was sitting on my leg, who was sitting on my chest, who was sitting on my foot. Everybody, my hands, my mouth. It was more like, it, anyway, that aside, let's skip that part. After that whole scenario, and the next day, we went to shower and other things. And then they told me that the initiation process wasn't completed, that I have to go back so that they can do it again properly for the second time. That was just how I find a way to just run away from that particular place. And I never set my feet there again. And when I came back, I wanted to report to the police. But a single mom raised me. She literally take care of me. If my father is absent and my mom is not present, then who do I run to for help? I don't want to be an orphan. If the police take it of the case, what is going to happen? So this is the part we are in. When your loved ones hurt you, when they hurt you, you can't do anything about it. And the trauma doesn't even, that was not even the beginning of that was the beginning of even the problems. Because I've seen where this whole Bondo FGM society, they said, for me, it was not even part of our culture. This was something that they just, I don't even know where they get it from, in favor of the men. They wanted the men. Back then, men have more than 5, 6, 7 wives. They said if a woman has a clitoris, it will be jumping from one man to another. For us, that was the narrative that they push. But if you're not part of the FGM, you have to. Before, we used to live with this thing that if you do not go through the FGM, you're not a complete woman. And now that the awareness is getting more higher, they are saying that those of us that went through the Bondo Society, we are not complete women. So you can see how all of these things changes. I get back, I wanted to report. I didn't talk to anybody. I was emotionally, now that I'm an adult, sexually, I am not even active. I cannot do anything. Sometimes I will just stand on the way and my estrogen is low, my iron level is low. Sometimes when it's time for me to mess, mess like for days. Or sometimes I will just bleed. I still have phobia. When I go to sleep, I still have nightmares. Sometimes, like this same people fighting, I wake up crying, shouting, but nobody hear me. So the whole thing after that, I did not even say. I had distance relationship with my family. I wasn't open up to them or anything. Even when I came, at first they said that the whole process was how to groom women on how to be their husband. But if that is the case, why are they initiating 1 year old, 2 year old? What are those children doing? Because the narrative is that after the Bondo Society, a husband will come and pick you and then take you just like that. So, what is a 2 year old girl doing in the Bondo Society? What exactly is she doing there? When will a husband, an elderly man, come to pick those 2 years old? I've seen people go through that process. They died. We reported to the police. No action was taken. I've seen people who are still suffering because of that. We reported, no action was taken. So as much as we have laws, even for me that I am aiming to be a legal practitioner, I have few months to be called to the bar. I'm not saying I'm going to discredit the whole law thing, but you and I, if we're being honest to ourselves, the laws are there. The laws are there to protect us, to guide us. But these laws are not effective. They are not efficient in love. They lack checks and balance. Up till now, you go to the villages, people are still doing it. Even people are dying. We are advocating. We go to radio stations, we go online, we attend events, we say these things from morning to night. Nobody listens. Nobody hears us. And then we come back to the drawing board again, starting from scratch. We give out solutions. Okay, fine. We are now protecting the other girls. For me, this is one of the reasons why I'm even speaking. Because at one time, I'm in the living room, and then my same mom was like, "Oh, your niece is of age, and I think it's time for us to initiate her." And then I said, I did not say back then when I couldn't take care of myself, when I was still thinking. But now that I'm old enough and I can take care of my niece, if anyone dares to touch her, I personally will take you to the police station. That was one of the reasons why I started talking, why I started speaking, because I didn't have the courage or anything about it to talk. We've attended seminars, we've advocated, but these practices are still happening. The politicians are there. They were the one that make the laws. But if they go back to the villages, they need these cultural people to vote for them, to dance for them. So that is why removing all of these is if those who make laws are the ones that are underneath it, what do you think will happen? We have laws. We have laws. The laws are there, but we are not protected by these laws. And our families, our loved ones, who we think that these are the people that should protect us, these people are the one pushing us to this, all in the name of I've went through it and I was able to escape. I have gone through this. You too will be able to to go through this whole thing. So for me, I've been speaking for a very long time. I've been speaking for a while about it, and I just no matter how much time has passed, I still live with the trauma. It doesn't disappear. The sky is there, the memories, the flashback, everything is there up till down. So when I hear people's stories, the pain come back fresh, like it starts from 001. That's the kind of pain I feel. So if we say no, should our voices be ignored? All because of what exactly? Should our voices be ignored? Yes, I was a child, but I knew exactly what I wanted. And I said no. And I was so excited about this trip that I don't even follow this tradition anymore. So when, like, if we get trapped, nobody's listening us, where do we run? So if the people who are supposed to protect, like our parents, are we supposed to continue to fight adults to protect our own body, whereas these adults are the ones that are supposed to fight for us to protect our body? The physical wounds can heal for a while, but will always remain broken no matter what happened. So if we are speaking about this today, speaking as obviously been part of my healing, and I don't have this victimized mindset. That is why I try to live as family as I can so that we can protect the next child. That is one of the reasons why I am speaking. But if we take that aside, us with the traumas, what are the solutions? What are the therapy centers that are open for us? What are the available? Like, the more we talk, we get rid of, but what happens to us? Because we are still suffering no matter what happened. And our voices matters, but this is not a one thing. This is from up, second, third. This is a collaborative effort that all of us has to come together to fight, not just one person. Anyway, thank you so much for having me.
Miss, please, I'm blessed at this point. Your story is deeply moving for real. If you are standing in solidarity with Miss Mara, please let's drop a heart in the chat box. I know we've all been speaking, we've all been engaging, but let's reaffirm our solidarity by dropping a heart in the chat box. Miss Mara, we are all with you. We love you. I'll continue to speak about FGM because even if there are laws, I don't think anybody is listening or even adhering to those laws. And the adults that are supposed to protect us, just like you said, they are the ones that are even more involved in this absurd practice, this absurdity of a practice. Please know that this space holds you with respect, empathy, and solidarity. Thank you for your bravery. So because of time factor, we'll be moving into the next session. This is the question and answer session. So I'll be collecting the questions so the speakers will answer them all at once. So if you have a question for anybody in particular, any of the panelists, please drop your question in the chat box and I'll read them out for the panelists to answer. Please let's make sure our question remain respectful, sensitive, and relevant to the discussion. This is a safe space, and we encourage thoughtful questions that promote understanding and learning. So I'll be waiting for your questions. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. Well, somebody said here that they want to control us so bad that they attack our genitals to shame us, and that is absolutely true. Because if you look at it, there is absolutely no reason for for FGM. It has no value. It has no advantage because the only thing it has infections, pains. It's just disadvantage. So what is actually the reason for the FGM? What is the reason? It's crazy for it. Please drop your questions. Please, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat box so that I'll read them out. Okay, while we are still waiting, maybe I'll ask a question myself. Is Miss Asia still here, please? My question is directed to you. Okay, there's a question here already. Miss Amina Sabo says, how do we raise our voices to be heard? Like in the northern Nigeria, some people practice these acts. So how do we educate them in such a way that they will understand our pains? So is anybody, Miss Shazmin and the others, will you like to answer this question? I'll read the question again. How do we raise our voices to be heard? In northern Nigeria, for example, some people practice these acts. So how do we educate them in such a way that they will understand the pain that we feel? Okay, Miss Shazmin, we are listening.
Thank you so much for that question. When it comes to advocacy, voice is very important, and voice doesn't necessarily it doesn't necessarily have to be very complicated. It can be as simple as making sure that in our day-to-day life, maybe when going to the shop, when having small meetings, just pop it up and be like, "Hey, what do you think about this? I think this is inhuman." Get a lot of insights from people. One of the very most effective way of going about change is looking at first what factors are really facilitating it. And I'm really glad that there were a lot of chats in there. One aspect is there's a lot of misinformation. So creating awareness can be as it can start with ourselves, wherever we are, slowly, just getting to platforms like this, using our social media. Yeah, we can just decide on any day, just because 6th of February is anti-FGM day, that it doesn't mean that we have to wait next February to do it. We can do it any month of the year. We can do it any day. Yeah, that is it. And there's a question on how can I approach my fellow girl that is facing trauma. I'd like to answer that as a counseling psychologist. The first aspect is we have to offer a safe space, and it means just giving them a space to talk about it, giving them a space that is validating, that is non-judgmental. That is the first place. And one thing is when somebody faces something, maybe it's a very traumatic event, we are very quick to speak in prevention language. But when somebody has already gone through it, we have to also add post-prevention language. Prevention language is what we are doing right now in this webinar. We are trying to see how we can stop it from happening. We are trying to see the measures that we can do to stop this from happening. But once it has happened to somebody, it is fatal to go and speak in prevention language to them. Let's say somebody comes to me and they tell me, "Shazmin, I've gone through this. Uh, I have to speak in post-prevention language because she has already gone through it." Prevention language is only going to make her feel invalidated. I don't know if I've answered it. If I've answered your question, but that is it for now on that. Thank you so much.
So much, Miss Shazmin. I believe, or I actually agree with her as well. I think awareness, we need to create more awareness. There's need for awareness, definitely. Because if we look at this, majority of those that indulge in these acts are even in the rural areas, majority, I think. So we need to create awareness about the aftermath of this harmful practice. Miss Kabira says she has something to say for those in Northern Nigeria. So we are listening, Miss Kabira, Miss Habiba, sorry.
I think we need to collaborate with more NGOs, like more NGOs, in order to fight this FGM stuff. Because we here in Northern Nigeria, as Amina Sabo says, we do this act a lot, like a lot. So please, I don't know, we the Nigerians in this group, we need to collaborate more with the NGOs in the rural areas, I think. The NGOs, we need to collaborate with them in order to stop this FGM stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Habiba. Yes, collaboration is definitely important. We collaborate with NGOs around so that we can spread the word, so that we'll reach a bigger population if possible. I think I sadly agree with that. So we have another question
Yes,
here.
please.
Yes. This question is to Miss Mara. You mentioned that they are not women enough if they don't undergo FGM. So the question is this act of violence done for the sake of men so that our girls are women enough for men? Okay, I think that's okay. So sorry, there's another suggestion by Mfonatane that we should create a questionnaire or survey and collect data so that we can escalate this to duty bearers. Since some of these traditional or cultural practice have joined with health sector, so she's asking how we can influence these policies to protect our girls. So I think this should be to Miss Asia if she's still on the call. How are we able to influence these policies to protect our girls? Miss Asia, I think. Okay, I don't think she's on the call, but Miss Jasmine would really like to take that question. So she's asking how we are able to influence these policies to protect our girls.
The very first, the policies are not going to work if we do not voice them. I think we go back to voicing it. Some of these laws are made, but the laws are broken because of the structure around the community that is really, really, how do I put it? That is really weakening these laws. A very good example is we have laws against FGM, we have laws against early marriages that is followed after FGM, but how many people report? We can have laws, but as long as if it's happening, we're not reporting to the systems that have set it won't work. Secondly, yes, we've reported, but what are the policymakers doing about it? We can report, and if nothing is done from there, then it is null and void. So I think we should actually come hand in hand. The community be firm in reporting, and the policymakers be firm in implementing those law-breaking policies. And we have to also hold accountability. Accountability is important. We can't be saying anti-FGM, putting rules around it, and when nothing is done about it, we stay silent. So we also need to build systems that can hold policymakers accountable, that can hold community leaders accountable, that can hold politicians accountable, and us ourselves also have to be accountable. If you see something happening and you are in a position to report it, you are in a position to help this person, then we have to do it. But putting in mind that we have to put our safety first. It's first safety, looking at the need, then putting on the correct measures as per the policy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Jasmine. Personally, I think we all need to speak out. We all need to look out for each other as females. Whenever we hear about FGM, we should be very active. We should speak up. We should, if possible, even go there. I don't know, but I just feel like we need to all work together. We need to stop keeping quiet about this horrifying act for you. Thank you so much. So are there other questions? Somebody's hand is raised. Okay, just before we take that, please check the chat box. Follow the Ali on all social medias, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Thank you. Jasmine, we are listening to you.
Okay. I wanted to add on something, and the thing I wanted to add on is when one woman is harmed, we are all harmed. I'm saying this because some of us women, let me be particular, some of us women, some of us men do not take anti-FGM policies really, really seriously, because we say, oh my god, it's not happening in my culture, so why should I speak about it? It didn't happen to me, so why should I speak about it? It didn't happen in my region, and it will not happen, so why should I speak about it? So I think we should also bring in the aspect of unity and togetherness. Just because it's not happening to you, it doesn't mean that you cannot voice it out. Just because it's not happening in your culture doesn't mean you don't support another part of the country, another part of the region going through it.
Thank you for that. At the end of the day, I think we all need to work hand in hand, just like Miss Jasmine said. So just because it has never happened to you or it has never happened to anybody close to you does not mean you should keep a closed mouth about it. We all need to speak up. We all need to act. We all need to talk and support each other. So there's another question here. So Miss Amina says, people in the rural areas don't have any education or awareness about FGM, and girls. So I'll be reading her question or awareness about FGM, and the girls are subjected to these painful acts. How do we educate them on the long-term complications of FGM? Okay, personally, before anybody replies, I think it's true awareness at the end of the day. Work with NGOs, go to rural areas, let's talk to people about this, use radio stations if possible. Because you see that most of people that engage in these acts, they don't even have like maybe mobile devices. So if possible, I think education is very important, awareness. Work with NGOs like Miss Habiba said initially. So Miss Jasmine, do you have any input, please? Okay, somebody says we can use mass media approach, community accountability meetings, where the stories are shared and documented.
Pardon on the question, please.
Okay, she's asking how we can raise awareness in rural areas, since most of the girls there don't even know about the lifetime complications of this act.
The first step would be removing shame around sexuality and reproductive health. We need to remove shame around talking about the reproductive system. Once we remove that shame from there, once sexuality is no longer a taboo topic, we'll be able to put on board exactly how the reproductive system is essential for us, for women. And I've seen this in many places. The reproductive system, the genitalia, is actually just seen as a sex object. And I hope I'm not triggering anyone with that. So when it is seen as just a sex object, and we are putting shame around talking about it, it's very hard to tell them, you know what, the clitoris does this, it is very harmful to remove it, the labia has this purpose, you're going to get infection if you remove it. We cannot and yeah, so the first aspect is we need to remove the taboo around sexuality, reproductive health topics. We need to be able to say, to talk about it openly. Once that shame is eradicated from there, and we start learning, because all this misinformation gets through us because we do not learn enough about it. We are not told how important this is for us. We are not told how powerful we as women are. We are not taught that. And when we do not know that, then it is very easy for person A, B, C to come say, you know what, this is bad for you. You know what, this is going to lead you to this and that and that. No, your clitoris is not going to turn you into a sex pleasing woman. Your labia is not a dirty part of you as they tell you it is. So I feel like the first step is that we need to eradicate the shame around that, so that the information can actually come without resistance. If I have shame around something and you try to talk me through it, part of me is going to resist that information. Yeah, because I don't want to hear about that. I was told a lot of wrong things about it, and now I'm blocking a lot of very meaningful information because of that internal resistance. Yes.
Thank you so much for your participation, Miss Jasmine. We really appreciate you, your input and everything. So I have a personal question to Miss Martha, if she's still here. So, Miss Martha, from your story, it's obvious that you literally have to fight against your own family members. I want to understand the emotional and mental state behind that, because if you have maybe like your own family members supporting you, that will go like a very long way. But now, if you are fighting against them, I think it's just I don't know. I just want to understand how you like balance everything, if possible. Thank you. Okay, I don't think Miss Martha is on Discord anymore. Okay, let me check to see if there are other questions. So there's a question here by, let me see. She says, I have a small foundation that supports girl education and sickle cell warriors. Sometimes she goes to the clinic to donate items for pregnant women during antenatal care. Do you think she should ask the clinic to create awareness for these women? Miss Jasmine, did you get the question or should I read this again?
Oh, yes, I heard it. Thank you, Anissa, Miss Anissa. So, yes, it's very important to use the platforms around health. In cancer advocacy, that is what we do. We look for clinics where it is mandatory for women to attend, because they have to take their young ones there. In the wait So what is done is, when they are waiting for services in that waiting area, we can actually just ask for time as they're waiting. Use that 10 minutes, that 15 minutes can really yield a lot of information. Another thing is, we can also ask to put posters in these areas where people are seeking for medical care. When people are waiting in those corridors, and they're looking at the notice boards, they're looking at the walls, and they're trying to see how to pass time, they can be able to see these posters on those places, of course with the permission of the clinics. When they see these posters with such information, it's going to create curiosity in them. So the next time you come and say, hey, we need to talk about it, curiosity has already been built in them. Yeah, that was a very good question, because it is a powerful step. Thank you.
Exactly. I totally agree with this. I think we just need to take awareness to another level. It's not just be about talking and talking. We can use posters, cards, flyers as well. Thank you so much. So there's another question here. She says, in northern Nigeria, where FGM is strongly defended as culture, how can we respectfully challenge the practice without appearing to attack the people's identity? I'll read it again. In northern communities where FGM is strongly defended as culture, how can we respectfully challenge the practice without appearing to attack people's identity? Miss Jasmine, did you get that?
Yes, I did. I think we are very awakening. We are an awakening generation. That is what I usually say. We need to ask why. Most of these, most of the violence, most of the destructive activities that have been passed down as culture is because we never asked why. We see our forefathers doing it, we didn't ask why. We see our fathers doing it, we didn't ask why. And now when it is told to us, we have to ask why. Because most of these reasons that are passed down in the name of culture don't make sense. It is not culture to harm somebody. It is not culture to make somebody live a very traumatic life. It is not culture to just bring in discriminations that actually harm both physically, psychologically, mentally. That is not culture. And we need to be able to say, I do not allow a culture that harms me. I do not allow a culture that mutilates me. I do not allow a culture that does not respect me. And I'm really big on the word respect. They need to respect our genitalia. Our clitoris is ours, our labia are ours. It's none of their business. So we need to question, why is it that this culture is attacking a genitalia that does not cause them any harm? If I keep my clitoris, what harm is it doing to my relatives? If I keep my labia, what harm is it doing to my I said this time and again, when misogyny started, and this urge to control women, and women are so powerful, it's disrespectful to actually mutilate somebody's genitalia, putting in mind that is where that is the portal of birth. Our genitalia are our portal of birth. We need to be able to say, I shall not tolerate a generation that I am giving birth to disrespect my body. We are giving birth generations after generations, and these same generations are coming to disrespect the same portal of birth. So the takeaway statement there is, it is not culture if it harms me. Thank you so much.
Well said, Miss Jasmine. Well said. Thank you so much. I feel like at the end of the day, we all need to train because we're all going to be mothers someday. And I feel like we all need to train our girls to always speak up, like Miss Martha said, just like Miss Martha, sorry. We all need to train them to always speak up. So this world is not just men's world, as they like to say. It belongs to us. We are all living in this world. So we have equal rights as men as well. So whenever there are questions, we need to question their acts, we need to question whatever laws. We need to always speak up, I think. So thank you so much. So since there are no longer questions, we'll move on to the next session. So that's the last question for this question and answer session. So we'll be hearing the closing remark. We've come to the end of today's session. I'll be hearing the closing remark, and this will be delivered by Miss Anjali V, who will help us to reflect on today's conversation and the way forward. Miss Anjali is the current Vice President of the Ali South African Caucus. She's a youth leader involved in the regional and global work on gender equality, youth leadership, and peace and security. She currently holds different positions across different organizations, including the Raise Brave Girls Association, the Femwise Africa, amongst others. Miss Anjali, you're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Please just confirm if I'm audible.
You're audible, Miss Anjali. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction and good evening, everyone. So, as we come to the end of this session, on behalf of the Amazon Leadership Initiative, I want to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to everyone who made this webinar possible, and to our organizing team who worked quietly behind the scenes to coordinate speakers, manage logistics, and ensure that everything runs smoothly. Thank you. And these spaces, they do not just happen, they are built with intention, patience, and commitment. And to our moderator, facilitators, and each of our speakers, thank you for the time, for the preparation, and the emotional labor you brought into this conversation. And to our founder, Miss Mary Izobo, thank you. Thank you for creating this platform through the Amazon Leadership Initiative. Because of your vision, young women across the regions are not just participating in conversations, but they are leaders of them. And this space exists because you believed in our voices. You believe that our voices matter. And conversations about FGM are not always easy, and they are often uncomfortable, but they are necessary. And today we are reminded that FGM is not culture, it is not tradition, it is violence. And violence cannot be justified by history, silence, or social pressure. And we cannot hide harm behind the language of identity. We cannot protect practices at the expense of protecting girls. And we heard from survivor who reminded us that behind statistics or real lives, we heard from a psychologist who showed us that there are long-term emotional impact. And We reflected on legal frameworks that aim to protect, yet often struggle in enforcement. And here, it is important to remember that the Maputo Protocol, particularly the Article 5 on the elimination of harmful practices, makes it clear that African states have a legal obligation to prohibit and address practices like FGM. And these commitments are not symbolic and they are binding. And the real question is whether they are being implemented in ways that truly protect girls. And we listen to the medical realities that continue long after the act itself, and each perspective brought something different, and yet all of them pointed to the same truth that FGM affects the body, the mind, and the future of girls. And I want to clearly say this tonight: we stand in solidarity with every survivor. Your experiences are real, your pain is real, your voices matter, and you're not alone, and you're not defined by what was done to you. Solidarity means we believe in you, it means we advocate for protection, it means we push for systems that prevent this from happening to others. And there's something I always say, and I want to repeat it here: if there's an issue that is not directly affecting us, our country, or our region, it does not mean that it is not our concern, because human rights are not selective. We cannot claim to stand for girls' rights in one context and remain silent in another. And if girls are harmed anywhere on this continent, it concerns all of us. It is the concern of all of us. And the theme of today is about 2030 and sustained commitment. And I think it is important to pause on that word, sustained, because ending FGM will not happen through one webinar, one campaign, or one policy. It requires consistency, it requires funding, it requires political will, and it requires education systems that are honest. It requires community leaders who are brave, and it requires young people like us who refuse to look away. But beyond systems and institutions, it requires something that is deeper. It requires community courage. It requires courage to question harmful norms even when they are deeply rooted, courage to protect girls even when it is unpopular, courage to challenge silence within families and communities, and courage to listen to survivors without defensiveness. And as young leaders from across Africa and beyond, we cannot wait for change to be handed to us. We must be part of shaping it, whether that means advocating for stronger laws, supporting survivor-centered services, engaging traditional leaders in dialogue, investing in education, or simply refusing to normalize harmful practices in our own spaces. Sometimes change begins in a very small space, in a very small way. A conversation at home, a refusal to dismiss harmful practices as just the way things are, a question asked at the right time. Advocacy does not always start on large stages. I can tell this to you through personal experience that often it starts quietly, but quietly doesn't mean weak. And ending FGM is not only about protecting girls today, it is about protecting generations to come. It is about ensuring that no girl grows up believing that pain is a requirement for acceptance, and it is about affirming bodily autonomy, dignity, and choice. So, today, let us leave this webinar not just informed but responsible, responsible for what we know now, and responsible for how we use our voices, responsible for how we engage our communities, responsible for pushing for investment, for pushing for accountability and measurable progress toward 2030. And let us remember that sustained commitment means we continue to work this tomorrow, next month, next year, and the upcoming years, and not only on international days of observance, but in everyday spaces where decisions are made and norms are shaped. And I also want to thank everyone who joined us tonight. Your presence truly matters. Choosing to spend your time learning, listening, and engaging in this conversation is already part of the change we are speaking about. So thank you for being part of this space. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. The work continues beyond tonight, and I wish all of you a peaceful and reflective evening ahead. Thanks.
Thank you so much for the closing remarks, Miss Anjali. We are grateful. Indeed, change begins with every single one of us. So we have to start from ourselves. Let's speak up. Let's not be quiet about this whole thing. We can all do it together, but then change begins with every single one of us. Thank you. So just before we continue, I think we should say the affirmation once again, the one we started with. So if you are okay, if you are comfortable, please once again turn on your microphone and repeat after me. Are your microphones on? So all you need to do,
Yes.
Yes.
I am a, I am a girl.
I am
I am
a
a
I
girl.
am a girl.
Deserve safety.
girl.
I deserve safety.
I
I'm a
I
deserve
girl.
Deserve
deserve
safety.
safety.
I deserve dignity.
I
I
I
deserve
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 I
dignity.
dignity.
deserve.
My dreams are valid.
My
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 dreams
My
are
dreams are
valid.
dreams are
valid.
valid.
Our dreams are valid.
My
Our
dreams are
My
valid.
dreams
dreams
are
are
valid.
valid.
Thank So if you can all turn on your camera now, so that I will take a group photo to bring this program to a wrap.
Wait. Oh,
Okay.
I should be part of this. Wait.
So while we are all turning our cameras on behalf of the organizers and thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate your time and engagement. So
Let's see myself. Oh, can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Can someone see me? Can you see me?
we are waiting.
Okay.
Yes,
No.
we can.
Anissa, please let me know when I should take the family photo.
We are waiting for more people to turn on their cameras, please. We are waiting for you all. Okay, Miss Anjali, you can go ahead. So Anjali, are we good now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. We are grateful, and this brings the program to a wrap. Thank you all. Thank you.